right, I'm here with Powerhouse Hobbs,
Yes.
and I warned him in advance. I got a kind of a long, weird story, so this interview may not be very long depending on how the story goes, but I was at a party. It was a friend's daughter's birthday party.
Okay.
We were talking sports, we're watching college football in the garage. This tall, good-looking, athletic kid said, "Hey, do you watch wrestling?" I go, "Yeah, dude, of course I watch wrestling. I've been a wrestling fan my whole life." He's like, "What do you think of Powerhouse Hobbs?" And I said, "Well, the thing about Powerhouse Hobbs is," and everyone's like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa." And I was like, hold on, let me finish. And what I said was, last time AEW was in town, there was only two people I wanted to talk to. You and Chris Jericho, who you just beat up.
He's going to do it for a third time.
Jericho was a Zoom interview. You would have been in person. The timing didn't work out. So to finish that story, I really wanted to talk to this guy, and the schedule just didn't work out. So this time, he's back.
I'm here.
He's in town. Do you know who that person was who asked?
Who?
About 6'8", 17 years old. It's your kid.
Ah.
It's your son.
Okay. I like that. I didn't expect that.
Full circle, right? I told you it was going to come full
Yes.
circle.
I didn't expect that.
So now we're finally here. We're finally talking.
Yes.
AEW in Oakland. I know you're a Bay Area guy.
East Palo Alto. Spent my whole life there. Spent time in Oakland, so I'm a legit Bay boy.
Now, I know that you've already wrestled at Chase Center. You pulled down that brass ring at AEW Revolution,
Yep.
but you know, growing up here, Chase Center wasn't here.
No.
So I imagine your opportunity to wrestle at what was Oracle Arena, now Oakland Arena, has got to be so special to you. That's probably where you went to watch games when you were a kid, right?
I did. I watched a lot of great matches there. Countless matches there. I remember, I've had so many memories there, just being there with my grandparents who had a love for wrestling themselves, who watched wrestling when they moved from Mississippi to San Francisco, and they lived right across the street from the Cow Palace. So, man, just being in an actual building that I can call home is kind of euphoric. It's a little like, I'm gonna try not to smile, but it's I get excited, and it's not even November 10th yet. So I just can't imagine how I'm gonna be just with friends, family, and just you know how we act about our sports in the Bay. So we got a different swag.
Well, I know you're legit because, you know, like the Warriors played at Oracle Arena. So usually when I talk to people that were excited about it, they're like excited for Warriors reasons. But you were excited for wrestling reasons.
I was excited.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I remember you could get Warriors tickets at the Chevron station. But I'm excited just because of the history of professional wrestling in Oakland. So it's just, you know, San Francisco, Oakland, the Bay, it's historic.
So I did tell that story last time AEW's here. I ended up talking to Chris Jericho. I actually ended up going to Alcatraz with Chris Jericho.
Oof.
And Don Callis was there too on the trip. So
That's my man.
You might have to talk to him about his allegiances real quick.
We know where where his allegiance lies. We saw what I did to Jericho a few weeks back.
Now hoist up Jericho again. Yep.
Is that story about your grandma? You told that passionate story about him dissing your grandma?
That's 100%
That's
true.
real, huh?
My grandmother, the woman that raised me, my big mama, got me front row tickets to meet you. And what did you do, Chris? You walked past that old lady, told her to shut up, looked at me, and told me to sit my ass down.
Super Brawl 8.
Damn.
1998.
Wow. I thought it might be because he snuck in line and he got that ABC 7 interview before you did.
If I knew about that, I would have talked about that too. It's another reason why I could be pissed. But that was a true story. Like everyone in my house was a super wrestling fanatic. You know, we would all be huddled up in my grandparents' room, sitting on the bed watching wrestling. So I tell people that certain people know what they were meant to do, and this is what I was meant to do.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about your grandparents and your grandma on that story with Jericho, like, I remember growing up, my grandpa would always go to the VHS store, like the movie store. We're that age, and he would get me those VHSs every time we came to visit, and we'd watch all the old wrestling tapes.
Yep.
And, man, I mean, the grandparents, he called it wrestling.
Yes, my grandparents did too, wrestling. Wrestling's all, I'm like, all right, cool, let's go.
So the grandparents kind of imparted that on us, but I'm not going to say they're grandparent age yet, but someone like Jericho, I mean, obviously working with him, working with some of the vets in AEW, I mean, to be at that level, to kind of learn from those guys, to beat those guys, to do things like that. I mean, what does that do for you, your psyche?
It gives me a lot of confidence. It's reassurance that I'm doing the right things, that I'm asking the right questions, that I'm evolving with this business. We all know Jericho is hands down one of the top greats of all time, period. And we know how he has evolved with professional wrestling, how time has went on, and the fact that I got to work with them, and it's amazing.
Yeah, and then I mean, we don't have to talk about the person in particular, but I know like one of the first matches that CM Punk had when he was here was with you.
Yes.
I mean, taking everything out of it, I'd have to think that that's an amazing vote of confidence.
It is. It is
to
be someone's first televised match in
Yeah.
8 years. It speaks a lot for myself, and I'll be the first one to say every opportunity that I've had, I've knocked it out the park. I don't want to toot my own horn, but sometimes you got to toot your own horn.
Yeah, you
and
do.
pat yourself on the back, But yeah, I'm knocking things out the park.
Yeah, and then you got the brass ring, the big ring. Last time we saw you in the Bay Area,
Face of the Revolution,
face
ladder
the Revolution.
match. 3 days later, 72 hours later, like I told Warlow, I was going to be the TNT champion, and I did that.
Yeah. What does it mean for you I mean, the climb is so grueling. I mean, people don't realize, like, they see you on TV, they think glamour, they think this is awesome, but, like, just to get to that level, I mean, you have to scratch and claw.
Yes.
You had to go through the works to get there.
I
So,
did. There was times that I drove from Oakland to Burbank. No pay.
yeah, that's like 8 hours at least.
Yeah, no pay. Drive down, set up a ring, wrestle, drive back so I could make work by 10 a.m. Like, people don't know. Sometimes you may get paid $20, $5. May not get paid nothing. It's a hard grind. I started with 25 people in my camp. Only 2 survived. So it speaks a lot about myself, and it's just like I said. Some people were meant to do this, some weren't.
Yeah, I mean, and to see, like, the trust that Tony Khan has put in you, the endorsement that you've gotten from AEW. I mean, you're a major player now. You're not just setting up and taking down rings anymore.
No, I mean, I'm still learning. I'm still asking questions. I never want to get complacent to be okay. I've done this. I'm cool. Like, no. I still ask questions. I still text people. What do I need to do? I don't care what I did right, but what can I do to change what was wrong? What can I do to change that? So.
Did you play all the sports growing up?
I
mean,
football,
someone
basketball,
athletic like
baseball. My grandma made sure we stayed out of trouble.
Who'd you root for as a kid?
Which sport?
All of them. Let's just go. We'll start with the NFL.
NFL. I was a Houston Oilers fan / Tennessee Titans.
How'd you end up going that way if you're from the Bay?
Man, I just Warren Moon, man.
Yeah,
he was
there you go.
Steve McNair, Eddie George. Eddie George is one of the first running backs I can remember. Like, he's 6'4", like looks like he's standing up, trucking people.
Yeah.
Basketball was San Antonio Spurs.
Interesting.
First basketball jersey I ever owned was David Robinson.
Okay, I saw him in Hawaii a while ago. He's huge.
My brother bought me that jersey, so it was the first jersey I ever owned. Stuck with it. 5 championships later. Baseball, Atlanta Braves.
Interesting.
I
TBS,
did that. I
the
did.
TBS thing, or what?
Yes, because of 6:05,
They're always live
3:05
on
Eastern
national
on
TV.
TBS. That is probably the number one reason, but the second reason because everyone in my household was a Giants fan, and out of spite, I would cheer for the Braves.
I always did that too. I rooted for the A's, but I could never root for the Giants. It's just against me. Just went against my grain.
Out of spite, I remember my grandpa and my uncles watching the Giants and Braves, and I think Greg Maddux threw struck out someone, and they're like, "Oh, God, dog it," and their Southern accents, and I'm just like, "Yes!" And just the looks I got. Like, if I had been 18, I probably would have been in a little fight, but I did that out of spite.
I'll tell you what that did, though. It taught you how to be a good heel.
Dang,
That's heel building block character right
I'm
there.
a real life heel. You piss me off enough.
Yeah, I won't piss you off. Don't worry.
You're good.
Aside from the funny story I told you off the top, though, that was just to get to the point that actually was at a birthday party.
I didn't expect
Isn't that
that.
crazy?
It is. All 6'8" of them.
Yeah, dude, he looks like he's gonna be. He probably already is an incredible athlete.
He is. Yeah, he is.
What do we expect? November 10th, AEW Collision comes to Oakland Arena. This is going to be your hometown.
It is.
This is going to be all your people in attendance.
Yes.
What do we expect?
All of my Bay Area people, please come out because we're all family. You can expect the unexpected. Wrestling is alive and popping, and no matter what you watch. With AEW, we bring a different flavor. I call AEW a pot of gumbo. You never know what you're going to get. You got a little flavor here, a little flavor there. So it's excitement.
Yeah.
Excitement. You know, it's a lot of wrestling. Everything hits. It's hard, you know, especially you see me because I break backs. I do spine busters.
Hobbs pulled himself up by the throat of Chris Jericho. And now, God, he's trying to put him through the mat.
World's most dangerous slams. I just don't care. So,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, how much time you got to spend? Like, I got nothing compared
Man,
to you.
I've been at this for quite a while,
See?
man. You know, big black and jacked.
Can't mess with that,
You
dude.
know, new T-shirt.
That would be a good, for sure. Is that out? Is that dropped yet?
You got a little tip, insider tip right there. You know.
All right, there you go. All right, Hobbs, thanks so much for joining
Thank
me,
you.
man.
I appreciate you.